Hey guys, so today we're going to try to swap out these OEM all-weather floor mats with some aftermarket floor mats that I have right here. And we're going to take these OEM ones out and compare them to the aftermarket ones and see how they stack up. So let's give it a shot. Alright, so let's take a look at these aftermarket ones. This is made by a company called Muslogy. I think that's how you pronounce it. I got quite a bit of their stuff for my Maverick already. And all the stuff has been actually pretty good. So I'm pretty excited to try out these floor mats. So you have to, the hybrid Maverick floor mats are not the same as the regular. So you got to make sure you get the hybrid.
If you have the
All
hybrid.
right, so that's, oh look, it's got these little peggy things, which I like. It keeps it from sliding around. Okay, here's the driver's side. Take a closer look at it. Seems pretty thick. The material seems pretty durable. Okay, so here is the back. So this does go over the middle just like the back, and looks like it comes a little bent, but it looks like it bends back. So it's going to have a little time to open up and form fit a little bit. So let's give it a shot. All right. First of all, so the OEM ones have been doing their job for the most part. You know, they look terrible right now because they're so dirty, but that's their job, is to pick up all the dirt. And yes, I've tracked mud in here before. So let's take a look at what they look like. All right, here's the passenger side, and you know, it's starting to bend a little bit. You could see that. This is a 2022. You know, the fit is starting to bend a little bit right here on the side, but it's no big deal. It's still okay. All right, here's the look at the back, and it goes over the middle like that. And this is actually not wet. It's something oily I got on it, and it's always been discolored like that. So we're going to take these out and rinse them off, of course, first, and then we'll compare it to the aftermarket ones I got. All right, one difference I see already is that the back seat for the aftermarket is all one piece, and here on my OEM, it's actually two pieces. See, so this comes off, and then there's another mat right here. And I think the one piece will be a little bit more efficient because, so you know, there's a little gap if you use the OEM one. So I think the design of a single piece would be better. That's just my guess, but not you know, not a big deal. So let's clean it up. So the OEMs have these pegs right here, and what you got to do is just kind of pop them out. You can see it leaves a hole. Do the same, and it looks like the aftermarkets have the same type of thing, but we'll compare it in a second. All right, looking here on the passenger side, there's a peg right here, but there's no peg. You see that? It's just a hole that fits over that. So that's interesting. It's probably the same on the aftermarket one. All right, so let's first take a look at the driver's side floor mats. Here's the OEM one, the Ford, and here's the Muslogy aftermarket. You can see the Muslogy is a little bit bigger. See, it goes up a little bit higher, and there's a little bit more of a pronounced lip around the Muslogy than the OEM. Um, Backside wise, you know, OEM does have the pegs also, but they're a little bit tighter and smaller. The Muslogy is a little bit bigger and more spread out. I don't think that's a big of a deal, but you can see that the Ford one is a little shorter than the aftermarket Muslogy. And another thing I noticed is that these little gaps here are deeper in the aftermarket one, or the Muslogy aftermarket one. The Ford, the holes are a little bit more shallow. I'm not sure if that's a big deal, but that's just what it is. And looks like, let's see, height wise, I think I think the Ford is a little bit higher on this side, and they look around the same on this side. Okay, so that's for the driver's side. Okay, so for the passenger side, this is interesting, but remember that peg on the back side right here? Um, the Muslogy Aftermarket has a hole for that, whereas the Ford one just has a little round slot for it. So that's interesting to see how well this will fit in. But again, it's just a little bit taller, and the sides look like it's just like this part. The Ford is a little bit higher right here on this part, and these two sides look like they're about the same. Let's see. I guess that's all I could see for now. Again, it has a deeper channel. So, all right, for the back side, remember the Ford comes in two pieces and it kind of sits over like that. And the Muslogy is one piece. Uh, Another thing that you could see different is that the Ford has this little molding over here, of course, on both sides. But looks like the Muslogy chose to kind of go around that spot right here. So instead of being a lump right there, it just went around that little hump. Again, the bigger lip as opposed to the Ford, but again, the single piece design. So if you do get some water here, it should channel down pretty easily. Rubber wise, for all of them, of course, I'm going to say the Ford rubber is a little bit more rigid, and this is a little bit softer, bends a little bit more. The Ford is a little bit more rigid, more rubbery, and this is slightly more plasticky, if that makes sense what I'm saying. I mean, they're both rubber. It's just the feel of it. Well, at least I think they're both rubber. All right, so let's install them and give them a shot. No, I'm not going to clean it up. Vacuuming is more work than I wanted to do. I got all-weather mats because I never want to vacuum. All right, I think it fits really well. Let's take a closer look. So there's the molding. It looks really good. And it goes up a little bit higher. You could see the Ford. I have some dirt and stuff right here because that's where it stops. But this covers up all that dirt that I had back there. So this goes up a little bit higher too. So pretty nice. The fit is actually quite nice. There's the way it looks. I mean, you don't have the Ford Maverick logo there, which is nice on the Ford. All right, let's go to the passenger side. Okay, so I do like this peg that the Ford does not have. That fits in really nice. So this is, again, this is the hybrid. So there's a little lump right here because of whatever components Ford has underneath here. I don't even know. But my understanding is that the hybrid has this lump here that the normal ones do not. Goes up to the edge of the fuse box, which is perfect. You don't want it to go any higher than that and get in the way. The fit looks really good. I actually really like the fit, and I like that peg in the middle. Let's install the rear. All right. I think I like that one-piece design here better. There's just no chance of any stuff getting in between, any kind of liquid or anything like that. Again, the fitment is really nice. Now remember, the Ford chose to go over this, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. This chose to go around instead of over. Fits nice and flush. No issues with that fitment either. So yeah, the back looks good too. All right, so comparing the two Aftermarket by Muslogy and the OEM by Ford, I'm gonna say they're the quality is pretty comparable. I mean, I don't prefer one or the other. One thing I do like is about the Aftermarket Muslogy was that there was a peg, extra peg on the driver's side, and the back side is one piece. I think those are pluses, but it's not a big deal. I feel like the rubber on the Ford is a little bit harder than the Muslogy, and of course it has the Maverick symbols, which is also very nice. But I think in terms of quality and what I would prefer, I would say it's pretty much a wash. So maybe whatever you could get that's cheaper, whatever's on sale. But as far as this Aftermarket compared to the OEM, I think I'm going to call it a tie between the two. You know, again, the Muslogy's got some, it goes up a little bit higher, which I also like. So there you go.